Good morning, I'm Peter Milios from the Finance News Network. The S&P 500 rose on Wednesday as investors attempted to turn a corner following back-to-back losing sessions on Wall Street. The S&P 500 added 0.51%, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 0.58%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average traded higher by 75.86 points, or 0.2%. While the Nasdaq saw gains on Wednesday, some major tech names sat out of the rally. Apple fell for its sixth straight trading day and has now lost $350 billion in market value this year, even as mega-cap darling Nvidia climbed more than 3% today. Alphabet and Tesla also both traded lower in the session. Despite Wednesday's action, the three major indexes were still down on the week. Regional bank stocks swung between gains and losses in the session after New York Community Bancorp announced a $1 billion capital raise. The SPDR S&P Regional Banking ETF ended the session slightly lower after trading down more than 2% during the day. Shares of NYCB rose about 7.5% after tumbling more than 40% earlier in the session. Trading in the stock was halted several times throughout the day. Traders kept an eye on the first of two Capitol Hill appearances from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell this week, who said on Wednesday in prepared remarks that the central bank could lower interest rates this year. However, the Fed chief said the bank is not immediately ready to cut the cost of borrowing money. Powell stated, "We believe that our policy rate is likely at its peak for this tightening cycle. If the economy evolves broadly as expected, it will likely be appropriate to begin dialing back policy restraint at some point this year." Powell noted that the central bank would like to see more data when questioned by the House of Financial Services Committee on Wednesday. He's also slated to appear before the Senate Banking Committee on Thursday. Turning to commodities, oil prices surged over 1% following further comments from Jerome Powell about increasing gasoline demand. The West Texas Intermediate contract for April settled up 1.25%, while May Brent futures rose by 1.12%. Powell mentioned to the House Financial Services Committee the likelihood of rate adjustments later this year pending the further data, alongside observations of declining US gasoline stockpiles, signaling a growing demand. This week witnessed yet another milestone in gold markets as prices surged beyond that 2,100 per ounce level. However, major players like Newmont and Barrick have not experienced parallel success. This disjunction between the value of the metal and the performance of mining companies could catalyze increasing merger and acquisition activity within the industry. Turning to US sectors, all sectors except for communications and consumer discretionary closed higher overnight. Utilities was the best performer. In the Australian landscape, the agenda for today includes the release of local economic indicators such as January trade balance and housing finance at 11:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. The SPI futures are pointing to a 0.48% rise. Thank you for listening.